What is up, y'all? As you can see, I got some better lighting. Welcome back to last week on Instagram. This is where we talk about posts from my Instagram reels where we can dive deeper into the content beyond the 10, 15 seconds, 3 hashtags, and short captions that you have to do to get traction on Instagram, to play in their algorithm. So let's jump into what we were going to look at for last week on Instagram this week. Our first video is Nathan Adrian. Oh no, this is the Tom Shields video. So this is my sophomore year. I'm actually in this video. I swam second. It was 18.8 in my sophomore year. Like 0.2 reaction, so 18.6-ish, you know what I'm saying? But I always love watching this relay. Stanford won the relay. Cal was the American record holder from the year before. So, they think at the time when they were swimming, Cal was they were a sprint team. They were not the 100, 200, I mean, some hundreds, right? But they definitely weren't the 200 middle distance IM team that they are today. Not at all, not even close. They were a 50 freestyle. Tom brought the 100 fly and 2 fly action. Definitely weren't 2 freestylers. 100 free, they had breaststroke events. A lot of breaststrokers. Pretty good backstrokers. Not pretty good, very good backstrokers. And 100 freestyle, right? Those are events where they're going 2 up, 3 up, right? And then they would win relays. So that was their formula to win NCAAs. And this was kind of, I guess 2010 was really like their last year winning like this. Maybe 11, it started to change, but by 2012, they had turned into Texas Light, even though they beat us, right? They were a full range team that was great at sprinting, and that's, where they would beat us, by one swimmer every year, which was, some no-name swimmer who came out of nowhere. But anyway, the thing I love about this video is the underwaters by Tom. So at this point in swimming, Tom is regarded as better than Michael Phelps. Probably the best underwater dolphin kicker in the world, right? Like there's a lot of, online talk about who's better than Tom, right? To the point where Tom made an Olympic team in the 100 flyer, right? So here you have him diving in after, I believe that is Aaron Wayne of Stanford, flips after him and then just rips this dolphin kick out of this flip turn. And it's really where you get to see how fast an elite dolphin kicker is. Now, Tom's 6'3", so he's no slouch of a person. At UT, our best dolphin kickers were all under 6 foot. But you just get to see how if you have a great dolphin kick, what it's fully capable of. I believe Aaron Wayne spent like 9.5 on this 25 coming home. And Tom did 15 meters of it underwater. So you can imagine how fast he's going. And you take that now, if y'all don't know what the transitive property is, if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. So if your dolphin kicking, your streamlined dolphin kicking is as fast as sprint freestyle, you're going to be able to do some really special things in your 100 fly and your 100 back. So that was a really cool thing to watch live. So we're above, you see the third swimmer at the top of the screen. Texas is in the lane above them. Let's see, maybe you see my black foot up there, but no. Shout out to the GOAT. Yeah, Tom's a beast. Beast of a dolphin kicker. All right, on to the next. So this is in our, it's actually our free content, our free course. I'll put it in the description below. Our free butterfly technique solutions content. And the key thing that I found when I taught myself butterfly, right? I'm self-taught, not an elite butterflyer. I don't know why I made that face. I'm not even a good butterflyer. I'd say I was respectable out of high school. But by the time I had graduated, I was 46.5, about 20 minutes after winning a 200 free going 133.0, right? So not NCAAs, but just a meet, right? A pro-am meet. And now I'm 46.55. So a big part of that was, also self-teaching myself underwater dolphin kick and elite underwater dolphin kick mechanics, but understanding that getting your butt up isn't getting your butt up, right? Your hips can stay very flat, head, hips, feet, and I can get my butt up, right? But what I found was that if you pull the knees in, almost like you're sitting back, it'll push your butt up like you see right there. And the benefit of that is now you're using your abs and your core to get your butt up, which then means now you can use your posterior chain to push the water back with the backside of your leg. So when I teach, and you'll find this in our fly content, our free fly content, like I said, it'll be linked in the description. I teach them to imagine swimming backwards, and it makes learning fly a piece of cake. So that's kind of our secret. This sit back key skill, connecting to your hips, or the beginning of connecting to your hips, right? This is kind of purpose for the fundamental athlete and the athlete who just needs to learn how to keep their fly together using their strength, so they can train their strength to have race application. This is meant for them. Let's see, but pulling the thighs in, the butt goes up. Oh wow, I used the wrong butt. And this is another thing, right? So this is what we're about with our content is a lot of times you'll have athletes with poor athleticism who just need technique, and you find out, oh, this is actually a high potential swimmer who has no strength training. They've been in the wrong group, whatever it is, right? You also have people who are tall or athletic, or they play other sports and it's like they can't get it together because they don't know how to use their body, right? So we teach swimmers how to use their body, right? Like how to use their hips and their butt, like you just saw, focusing through their thigh muscles and their abs and trying to close that space, and then knowing how to use their posterior chain and contract it to push the water back and kind of flow through their butterfly. So that's what we're about. And that's why we get results. All right, this one went up today. Why is it not playing? Okay, let's hit the refresh on this joint. Oh, my internet's frozen. Uh-oh. That's why it's not playing. There we go. Right, so when we're watching this, right, we see Phelps' head come up kind of right before his hands exit. And you look underwater, right, he gets there, and the first thing that he does is start to curl his head up. So when we teach it, this is also in the free fly butterfly content, when we teach our breathing, we do a lot of buoyancy drills, not even buoyancy, but like keeping your head up while trying to be as flat as you can without cheating with your hands, right? Pretty much just getting comfortable with that sinking feeling while breathing. And then we take that into the progression of how to breathe first, pull second, bring the forehead down, not necessarily curl the whole back, but bring the forehead down in the recovery around last. And then when you speed everything up, it fits together perfectly. And that's why I wrote in here, timing and sequencing are the most important part of technique, right? So for the breath to occur on time, which is right before the pull ends, you have to lift it up first. So the distance to go from that deep chest press that Phelps shows us to up in the air, it takes, I'm not gonna say more time, but the amount of time that lapses from that to facing the air has to be done first for it to come up in the air before the hands exit, right? If you watch this and you say, oh, the head comes up and then the hands come up immediately, you're gonna find athletes' motor skill programming being hands up, head, and then now there's someone like this. And think about how many flyers you see do that. A lot of them. Right? A lot of struggle fly is the head and the arms in the air, hips are down low. But if you can use the pull to support the breath and then get the forehead down, now you're buoyant again, your hips aren't low, and we can, like we see right here, we can have our hands up in the air at the top of the recovery and the butt up. So understanding how timing fits together, right? That's just a breath timing, but you can see how much of that is dependent on your recovery being in the right place. Your chest press, right? You look at that chest press, butt up, hands high. How these things fit together, and if your breath timing is wrong, you pretty much blow the whole stroke, right? So that's what we're about. Like I said, we're teaching you how to use your body in our content, and just this one thing We're not even working on the recovery yet. We're not even working on the kicks yet. Just fixing your breath timing unlocks the whole stroke, and then we can optimize those other pieces as well. So, we try to bring the best information. Not try, we bring the best information. All right, let's move on to our last video. Uh-oh. What was our last video? You know what? We're getting through this quickly, so we'll do 2 videos. All right, so first one is flip turns. Now, I know someone in my comments said something about like one of the hands was wrong. Let me see. Turn those palms over. So personally, I do my flip turns using the back of my hand. So here we have one hand that's pushing with the palm, one that's pushing with the back. And I like using the back because it locks the elbow out, right? The elbow joint's on top, so the elbow can't bend and penetrate. Whereas if I'm like this, the water pressure might, make it bend the wrong way as I'm going up. And my elbows are straight. All I got to do is use my armpit and push them back, and I'm straight into my streamline because I'm on the back of my hands. It just, to me, it feels faster. Right now, when we teach this is, you can find this in our non-stroke solutions. We teach the palm and the back of the hand, and then we let the swimmers decide what they like better. But yeah, I think definitely the arm should stay long because a longer lever is more resistance, which means instead of the arm moving to the water, the body has to flip faster. So I'm a big fan of long, straight arms. All right, and our final video. This is another one. Looks like it needs to be refreshed. Man. So when I got to UT, right, Scott Spann Jr., shout out to Scott, pretty much took me under his wing like immediately. And he was like, hey, like these are the exercises we need to be doing in the weight room. And I got this video of him also, 2009, watching the film, and it was in there. And the one thing I always remember about this video is how his hips just seem to stay level the whole time. Like if you watch his stroke, even though he's going up and breathing and coming back down, he stays level. You can also see the head position, right? He never really gets here in a flat line. He's under his chin and then kind of regulates himself through his shoulders to his fingertip line. So, I'm noticing these things, and he was an Olympic finalist in the 2 breasts. I believe he was 6th in finals. But you just see what goes into making a good breaststroker, right? So between this and the strength and conditioning stuff that he was showing me, and Eddie, changing things about my breaststroke, and at the time, I had kind of a hybrid, what I'm now calling the PD pull. I'm not going to call him that because I'm not giving him credit. I was doing that way back in 2009. But I realized that with that pull specifically and what Eddie was trying to get me to do, it was too much power. Like it was recruiting so much muscles that they were getting tired. And I thought that this is not right because I can't sustain it, which obviously I now know. You're 18 years old. You don't know that. I don't know that I've just cracked the code for breaststroke. So I abandoned it and developed a different technique, which went on to become our L-Skull in the stroke technique solution. So it's not all bad. But, learning all these things and Eddie tinkered my breaststroke went to absolute garbage. But then year 4 rolls around, my senior year, and I split 51.7, which at the time was the 3rd fastest all-time breaststroke split. Faster than Spann. No. I take that back. Faster. It was behind Spann, and then obviously number 1, Brendan Hansen at the time. So shout out to Scott. The rewards came around late of his tutelage, but they came around. Yeah, lay flat. That was a big one. If you look at him, you don't see him like penetrating and diving. You kind of see him stretching out. I had some really great, Friedland. Good God, Friedland. But yeah, Eric Friedland, Brendan. Brendan came back the end of my sophomore year. Spann, Nick DiNcenzo. I had some really great breaststroke mentors for sure. For sure, for sure. Eric taught me a lot about finishing breaststroke. So, like, you know, those arms start running out of gas, how to, you know, basically use momentum to generate a ton of speed, like more than you would think is rational versus a traditional breaststroke pull where you feel strong. So, shout out to all those guys. And that will conclude last week on Instagram. Once again, I'll put the the free fly content below. Download it, get to work on it. It's going to help you step your game up, I promise. Especially when you take those techniques and then you combine them with the swim backwards concepts I talk about in there. You're going to see a lot of kids start swimming fly that you didn't know could swim fly. All right? Like probably some of your worst swimmers, you might actually find out are pretty good flyers. Like that's usually how this goes down, how it plays out. So, you know, we try and do our job well over here, and hopefully you're happy with the results. So once again, guys, thanks for hanging out. Let me know what you think about the content. You know, what do you think about Scott Spann's laying flat? You know, that's a big one that I see people violate so much. What do you think about the dolphin kick? And that it's, if you train it the right way and you know how to move the right way, you can be as fast as a freestyle. It's the great equalizer, right? Yeah, guys, that's it. So next time, make sure you hit that notification bell, subscribe, push us in the algorithm so we can get this information out to people who need it, and hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever we drop a video. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Till next time, peace.